Howdy YouTube! Welcome to another winter day here in Northeast Ohio on this beautiful May day.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream. So we're still playing the game. We're staying out in the RV, just running the furnace, but we've got to stay in it tonight. I should say we've got to. It's actually very comfortable sleeping. Again, I think our bed, it's one of those things. You ever notice that if you go into a hotel and you're staying for a couple of days, like we do for the RV shows and stuff, if we're not in our RV, we'll go to the hotel and the first day we get in there, it's like, oh, this is so comfortable. The second day, it's like, I don't know. Third day, you're like, man, I can't wait to get home and get in my own bed. Well, it's kind of that way with the RV. And I still think that the RV is more comfortable, though, than our bed in our bedroom, and a lot of that has to do with that topper. Heidi had done a review on that. If you guys hadn't checked that out, go check that out. It was a quick, easy throw on topper, and it's definitely more comfortable because of it. I couldn't sleep on it without it, that's for sure. So what do I got to do today? Well, I got to kind of prepare for tonight, and I'll tell you why I say prepare is because I just ain't that smart. I just assume that the propane, when it gets on E, that means everlasting. Now, I don't have any propane gauge of any kind. I went ahead and ordered some. I'm going to try them out. I'll let you guys know if they work. There's a lot of mixed. I get people that say they suck. They only work so long. They quit. They're hard to change the batteries in. These little rubber feet should be metal feet, and if they're not metal feet, you need to call and they'll send you. Anyways, I'll go over all that. Maybe it'll be a good experience all the way around, but I was looking at buying 30 pound propane tanks, 7-gallon propane tanks to replace the ones that we have that have a built-in float gauge. Man, they're expensive. They're like $160, $70. I think it's $170 per tank. I can't spend that much money on a propane tank. I don't care if it has a real nice gauge in it or not. That's just too much money. Now, if we had 20-pound tanks, I think you can get one with a gauge in it, with a float, a real gauge that has a float. And what I'm talking about is, a lot of you probably have done what I've done in the past, and you buy that gauge that either sticks on the side of the tank, and it is basically a magnetic strip that senses through temperature the liquid level and just kind of gives you a display. They work. They do okay. I think that there's some problems with that. It's not really accurate, but it does an okay job. And then they also make the gauge that just spins on in line. So you unhook your propane from your RV, you screw on this fitting that has a gauge, and then you put your propane line back on from the RV, and the pressure of what's in that line is supposed to kind of indicate how much propane you have. That's kind of accurate, but it's still it's very vague. And on top of that, some of those connectors have some kind of a prone to leaking sometimes, so you got to watch that. And then they make one that's a true float gauge, like what you have in your car, and that is something that actually is in the tank that floats depending on how much level of liquid is in there, and it reads on a gauge that's being actuated by that float. So that's probably the best way to do it, the most accurate. The one I'm going to get is some kind of a sensor, magnetic sensor or something. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Well, could be gimmicky. It's not very expensive, so we'll try it out. Let me go out here. A little bit of wind. Well, I'll tell you why there's a little bit of wind, because we did have this crazy windstorm and then a lot of rain that came through. Okay, so it's been relatively warm today, but look at this weather that's coming in. It is blowing in hard and fast. This must be where the temperature starts to change again and get real cold. Not so much tonight, but tomorrow night. But they said that there was a chance of some really strong storms, and I'm going to tell you, there's some wicked looking fast moving clouds here. Wow. Just to give you an idea, it was like 58 degrees today, sunshine, no wind, and now it's this. Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised, to tell you the truth. I didn't think that the weatherman was going to be right, but look how fast it's moving. Wow. I mean, this just came out of nowhere. Get a little closer to the house, see if I can block some of the wind so you can hear what those trees are doing back there. Yeah, this is much more than I thought it was going to be. Like I said, it didn't even seem right. But I guess you can expect that. I mean, it is technically spring. Some weird looking clouds over there. But look how fast they're moving. I don't know if I'll pick this up with camera, but wow, are they just trucking right along? I don't see any weird rotation though. Yeah, Heidi and I's just sitting on the porch. Say hi, Heidi. And all of a sudden we heard all this noise, and I said, wonder what that is. And sure enough, this happened. I said, I'm grabbing the phone. I'm going outside and looking at this. But all that weather that was off in the distance there was just here. I mean, like I said, it was pretty nice out. So you seen, yeah, that was kind of weird. Good news is, a little rainbow came out, so I caught a quick little shot there of it. Okay, so everybody has either 30-pound propane tanks or 20-pound propane tanks. I'm going to give you my opinion on this, and then you can just make your decision on your own. But I'm going to tell you that 20-pound propane tanks are probably more the smart idea than 30-pound propane tanks when you're out on the road. Now, there's going to be exceptions to that. And the exception is if you find yourself always close to a refill station to where you can get these refilled, then the 30-pounders will work just fine. But the problem is you may be out on the road or out in an area that the propane runs out and no refill station is to be found. And as you can imagine, a lot of us need our furnaces usually at night when a lot of places are closed, especially refill stations. So what you'll find is if you have those little barbecue tanks, those little 20-pound tanks that are a little bit shorter than these, you can pretty much take those anywhere, including Walmart, a lot of gas stations, and just swap them out. You can, drop off your 20-pound tank and get a 20-pound tank. And don't be afraid to ask the people that are doing the swap. Say, hey, can you make sure you give me a good one? A lot of people say, oh, you get back crap. You hand over a good tank and you get back crap. Just ask for a good one. Ask, say, hey, can you give me that one? And just point to one. There's a lot of date codes and stuff on here. All of them that get refilled by these companies, they all have, recertifications in that. But you may get one that's been repainted and looks real bad. That's why there's a cover. Cover it up. As long as it works, I don't care, especially if I'm exchanging them a lot. And of course, the exchanges are going to cost more than a refill for the most part, but the fact that you're paying for convenience and you're going to have heat for the night makes it feasible. What I do like about 30-pound tanks, which this came with 30-pound tanks, is they last longer. You have 2 more gallons in each tank that will get you down the road a little bit further whenever you're running the furnace. What happens is, whatever tank you point it to, that's going to be your primary tank. So, of course, this is pointed to this tank, and it's the primary tank, and it's on. Both of these tanks have to be on for the switchover to work. So what happens is, Once this runs out completely, or really, really low, almost completely, so the primary tank runs out, the switchover will turn to red. This will show red, and it will switch over automatically to this tank. Even though this isn't pointed over there, this changeover will change over to this tank as long as it's on. It's got to be turned on, which this one's definitely turned on. Then the good thing about it is you know that this tank is empty because this is all red, and then you flip this over to point at this one, and you can undo this and go take this tank and go get it refilled. That way you're running off of that tank and nothing is happening on this side. I'm going to turn on the furnace, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when that thing kicks off. So I just kicked on the furnace, so it's going to fire up here. I'll wait until a little bit of warm air comes out. Not yet. Like I said, always stand off to the side just in case. Okay, now it's hot air, so it's definitely running on propane right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this over, and we'll see if we can get it to go red. And what I mean by switching it over, I'm just going to turn off the primary that it's pointed at. Here we go. So let's look at this gauge as I turn off the propane tank. There you go. Now what it's done is switched over to the other one already, automatically. So that's kind of nice. I like that it has a crossover, switchover, changeover, but a lot of people don't even know they have that on their RV. Almost all the RVs out there have an automatic switchover or changeover. You just don't know it. So if you're getting low and you think you're getting low, just turn on your other propane tank and it'll take care of itself. So again, when you see that it's red, now if I want to, I can switch over to this one here. So now it's pointed, and you see it went green as soon as I did that. Watch, we'll go back here. See how it's red? There, see how it's turning green? So we know that there's propane in there, but let me go ahead and take this off. I'm gonna feel how heavy it is and feel how much there's in there, and if I need to go to the propane store. I also know the refill station. Okay, so I checked this, and guess what? That's about how much propane I have in there. So that'll work. I'm glad I don't have to go to get propane. I was hoping that was the case. Now, in a couple days here, it should be getting warmer. Like I said, tonight it's going to get down to close to freezing. So we'll stay in the RV tonight, keep everything warm, including ourselves. And then tomorrow is going to be about 50 some degrees. Pretty decent, but then early in the morning, basically Wednesday morning, it's going to be close to freezing again. And as far as I know, from that point forward, we should be okay. Cross my fingers, knock on wood. Where's the wood? There it is. Yeah, you know, I already said it once. Had to eat crow there. Thought for sure it wasn't going to freeze, but it looks like finally the pattern has switched to the point where it's going to be kind of warm. I was talking with someone in an email, James from Boone, North Carolina. I remembered somebody's name. Go figure that out. I think it was James. Well, I appreciate everything he was telling me, and he was saying that he pulled off the underbelly of his RV, and he said that they don't do a very good job down there, and that doesn't surprise me. As far as the tanks, I need to measure the tanks, and I think there's going to be a good chance we're going to be putting a sea level system in there so I can get accurate tank measurements. While I'm doing that, I also want to look at the heating pads and see how the wiring is set up on those, and see how hard it would be for me to set up separate switches for the gray and the black tanks. Again, I don't think I'm going to run it all the way over to the control panel. I think the gray and the black tanks I'm going to put somewhere relatively close, like in the bathroom. That'll work for me. Okay, it's a little cold. We do have the chance for snow. Go figure that out. And again, cold night again tonight. Well, we've got one more night in the camper. And I'll tell you what, it's so comfortable out there. I'm cleaning out my eye gunk. I slept until 9. Can you believe it? Actually, I got up. I heard Heidi get up. She got up early though. Well, we went to bed early. She went to bed at like 8:45. Of course, I was in bed at 8:45, but I watched TV and was on the phone and was doing some research and just all kinds of crap. In the meantime, I had a video that was uploading in here for my other channel, and I was I don't know. I finally went to bed around 11ish sometime, but I heard her get up around 5 because she went to bed so early, and then I heard the truck start because we have it on. Again, she's driving it back and forth to work to put some miles on it so we can eventually use it for towing. I don't know if you guys haven't picked that up yet. At some point, I've mentioned that the new truck, in the manual, it says it should have about 1,000 miles on it before you actually use it for towing. So that's what she's doing. We got the bed rug installed. We got the front windows tinted. They forgot to put tint across the front windshield. I had him reseal the front bulkhead. He said that they only had one layer of stuff in there. He says there should be 2 layers because of the height difference, but anyways, he took care of that. Apparently, we've got to go back at some point for him to put that windshield banner in, just that sun shield, whatever you want to call it. But in the meantime, we got a bunch of stuff that's going to be delivered here over the next couple days, and the RV was nice and warm last night, and those heating pads are definitely, they've got to be working. Now, as far as the way the water feels, I think there's so much water in there. I don't think that heat pad is heating all the water, and the source for the water to feed into the RV must come from a different part of the tank, because the water, while it's not freezing, it's very cold. It's definitely very cold. So the reason I know those pads are kicking on, or a pad is at least kicking on, is when I turned them on last night, you hear a very audible click for a relay. It's definitely a relay that the switch is turning on. And that audible click also gets shortly after that accompanied by the converter underneath the refrigerator has a fan built into it, and you can hear every once in a while that fan kick on. So, the 12-volt conversion that's being done is at a pretty decent rate. So anyways, that's what I heard last night. So we have one more night out there, which actually I could have 100 more nights out there. And we got it protected from freezing for one more day. It's nice. I mean, it's really nice out there. I hate the fact that I'm doing this when I'm sleepy, or it's got sleep in my eyes, but I thought I'd hurry up and jump on this real quick because I was waiting. I had to restart my computer. For some reason it was acting up. Let me go ahead and log in here. The video that I uploaded again for my other channel, I just let it run. Last night it doesn't take very long to upload. We have pretty good speeds here, but yeah. And there's something I wanted to think about, and I want you guys to tell me. You know how my videos are. It seems like that they're always long. I mean, it's just seems like that whenever I'm editing it, I think, oh, I can't cut that out, and that's my storytelling in general. If you've met me in person, I like to tell a story in pretty good detail. I don't want there to be any blank spots. The problem is a lot of those details aren't want to be heard by a lot of people. I can tell. But whenever I do that, usually the people don't ask me questions. They already, I've tried to tell stories without all the details, and it seems like that they didn't get to enjoy the story because I didn't carry them along very well. And then they have questions, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I see what you're saying. And I don't know, maybe people enjoy figuring it out after the fact, but I try to make sure it's all laid out for them. Maybe it's just boring. Maybe I'm just boring. So anyways, getting back to the length of the videos, I wonder how that's going to work out whenever we're on the road. I still do long videos so far, but I'm kind of curious as far as upload speeds. I think I'm just going to try to make sure that we have some really fast internet. I don't know how that's possible because everybody struggles with that at some point. We'll see how that works out. But Heidi's at work. She's got today, and then tomorrow night, and then she's off. And I'm glad that she's going to be off. I took a shower in the RV last night. That water's so soft. But I did not wash my hair. As you can tell, it's kind of messy. But I didn't hardly do any work yesterday. What a surprise. I just sat at the computer and edited video. All right. That's it. I just wanted to give you an update. So we'll pick this up maybe when Heidi's home. You know what? It's getting real close to time for a live chat, too. Maybe we'll do that, huh? I'll have to see how Heidi feels about that. We'll go from that. We'll let her be the litmus test on that. All right, guys. It's still a little chilly. Look at it, kind of cloudy. We got into the 50s, but we're also still using the propane for tonight. So this will give me a chance to try this thing out. This is one of those tank sensors that you just throw on the bottom of the propane tank. It's just like you would think. These things, there's two of them in here, so when you get the packaging, don't think you just got one. They're just real skinny. They're just magnets. They're connected with magnets on the bottom of the tank. The problem is on my tank setup, the tray in which the propane bottles sit, it's solid. It's a solid. So you have to use these aluminum feet. I guess if you order this part number, which will be in a link down below, if you order the part number and you get it with rubber feet, I guess you just call them up and they send you these aluminum feet. I guess, you know, there may be old stock out there, but of course I got new stock from Amazon using the link that I'm going to provide down below. Let's see what happens. I'll try to also sync using this little thing here. We'll see how it works. All right, so I only used, even though they give you enough for 4 feet, 4 of these aluminum feet for each tank. I only used 3 because in the picture it showed 3. So I thought, well, maybe the other one's for you screwed up something, or maybe if this thing breaks. As far as the sensor itself, you can see this little pad right here. It's a rubber pad. That's what does the sensing on the bottom of the tank. And these other 2 shiny things on either side are magnets. All right, so even though I didn't create an account yet, or I did create an account, but it hasn't verified or whatever, it still does talk to these things. Let me see if I can turn the brightness up. I don't know how bright this is on the... Oh, that's as bright as it goes. Sorry, guys. So that's what it looks like. Let me see if I can get it in the shade or something to where... Yeah, let's do this. No, that still don't work, does it? All right, so anyways, you have to hammer on those little aluminum feet. Like I said, I only used 3 of them. And here we go. There you go. And it's just like I thought. The first tank is still got propane in it, which is amazing. And the second tank, I mean, I'm reading it from here, you know, and it is a Bluetooth, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. Now, make sure that you set up the tanks by the buttons that, you know, you want to. And I'm going to have to remember to write the tank number down, or, you know, on the sensor. If not, I'll get them screwed up. I guess it don't really make a difference as long as, you know, you continuously use one tank. But, matter of fact, I think it says tank number 1 on it. Yeah, I didn't write that. I didn't write that on here. Somebody else did. I didn't write that. So this thing's synced up real easy too. So what happens is, let me just go over it real fast so you guys don't have to necessarily read the instructions. Basically, you're going to make sure the bottom of your tanks are extremely clean. You're going to take your tanks off of your RV. You're going to flip them upside down, and you're going to take and tap these aluminum feet, little feet. You're going to tap them around the ring of your tank on the bottom. As you can see, let me put this stuff out here because the wind is starting to pick up here. You can see right here, and I just spaced them. There's one there, and then there's one opposite of both of those. That's only if your tray is solid. I mean, I have no gap there. It's all solid metal underneath. Now, if you have an opening, like our 92 Terry had an opening there, I'm sure it's something entirely different. So once you do that, and you have the tanks off, and you have them clean on the bottom, you're going to pull the battery saver off of the monitor. That's what that thing is down here. This little thing, here's the monitor panel. And then these are the sensors. you're going to push either the left for tank 1 or the right for tank 2. That's what the light colored button is tank 1. The dark colored button is tank 2. You're going to push that button, but only after you've pushed the sync button that's on the sensor about 10 times real fast. That wakes it up. Now, they don't have to be on the tank at this point, so have one sensor in your hand, push the button, there's a button on it, about 10 times, and then go down to this and push like your number 1 button. As soon as you do that, all the lights will start flashing up and down, and then you push that same button again to lock it in and sync it with the one that you've got going. Then you go do the same thing to the other one. But of course, using the button, you know, like I said, there's only 2 buttons. Using the other button, the dark button, they're both synced. Once they're both synced, you're going to put some dielectric grease. That's what this is. You're going to put dielectric grease. They say about the size of a pea. Is put a nice constant layer all the way across the sensor, and then just allow the magnets to hold it in place, just kind of in the center. Now, of course, the sensor itself isn't going to be dead centered. It's going to be off centered because you want the sensor in the center. Once you've done that, put the tanks back on, hook them up, turn them on, whatever you want to do, and you're good to go. So like right now, if I check tank number 1, we just seen on the app said it had 12%. You can see it's almost empty. Of course, it's not as accurate as the app that says 12%, but yeah. And then if you want to turn it off, and then of course, number 2, that's it. You're just supposed to click it once. It's full, which it is. Tank number 2 is completely full, just like the app says. And then push it again to turn it off. So I don't know what the range is of this. I just want to put it in there. Let's see if we can do it as far away as possible. First of all, I'm going to put this cover back on, and then I'll put this where it makes sense, which is the back of the RV. All right, so this would be the right place to put it, right? It seems reasonable, so let's see what happens. Well, it's reading it. I'll have to say I'm kind of surprised. Wow, okay. Holy cow. I did not expect that. Let me see if going over here. Yeah, it's reading it. It's reading it. Wow. Call me shocked. I didn't think it was going to do that. So let me try the Bluetooth. That's amazing. I mean, you can see through the bedroom, through the walls. I mean, look, electrical here, the microwave's there, the refrigerator's not on. That could be a problem once those things are on, maybe. So let's see the app. Well, yeah, it updated from back here, so it must be a good signal. All right, I still don't trust it 100% to where I'm going to drill and put this up, but I will put some sort of a real cheap adhesive on the back just to hold it in place. Yeah, that's I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. So good. I don't know, link's down below. Like I say about everything, link is down below to get the exact same one. Wow. If this keeps on working this way, I might have to buy some more gadgets. Good. Afternoon, YouTube. It just turned afternoon. Welcome back. We're in a new day, and it's a beautiful day. Wait a minute. There, that's better. I can't only handle it so long. So we're into a new day. Like I said, after I did all that tank stuff, the propane tanks work really well. And actually, I don't use as much propane as I thought I did. Initially, I thought we didn't use very much propane. Then I thought we used a lot of propane. And then after getting this tank sensor, I don't think that we use that much propane. So I've already been out to the RV. Let's talk about the day and what's going on and give you a rundown of all the crap that you get to see on some level coming up here shortly. Still doesn't mean it's going to happen on this video. I do need to mow the lawn. Today's a day that it's going to be 61 degrees. Right now it's 54 degrees, and it just, I don't know, just a little past noon, maybe 12:30. Yeah, I love it. So I put out the awning. We're going to let that dry out, and opened all the windows, every window that we could. Well, let's get on a tangent real quick here. Just so you know, this is one of the disadvantages of these little side windows inside the RV. These here. That's all the further they open. They don't open very far at all, you can see. Not a big deal. I mean, look at that one, how much it opens. And also, if you guys are just opening your windows for the first time, please crank them very slowly. Slowly. You want to crank them slowly because they're wanting to stick, especially if they're relatively new, like in our case. They made some funny noises whenever I was undoing them. So Heidi's at work. She's got the truck. We got the bed rug installed in the truck, and we've been working on this van. Matter of fact, let me show you a little bit from just the other day. All right, so the transmission work starts, at least the transmission lines, because we got to get that timing cover off, but the radiator's got to come out first. So he's loosening up the transmission lines, and then after that, we'll have to think about pulling off that harmonic balancer and then raising the vehicle to get to the oil pan to lower it. There's a slightest chance that the timing cover may come off, but I doubt it. We won't know until the harmonic balancer is off, the oil pan is dropped down, and the bolts are loose. And then we can try it. Maybe it moves, maybe it don't. Gonna get it done eventually. We got the harmonic balancer puller. We got to do that. His sleep's a little screwed up, so we'll pick this up a little bit later with that, and probably not today, because he has to go mow his grandma's lawn. And the reason that I'm so concerned about the whole lawn situation is, I don't know if you can look across the street there, but they are baling hay because they didn't keep up with the grass, and they should be over there right now doing it, because what's coming up is we've got 5 days of heat and rain after this. So that's why today's the day that we need to mow this lawn, get it taken care of. Other things that I have to do, that I need to do, well, we need to get our gravel guy in here. Problem is this whole COVID shutdown thing, the gravel place was closed for a long time, and I don't know if it's opened yet. But we're on a list. Again, what we're going to do is get gravel from the corner of this railroad tie to where this big dandelion is, also known as a painted rock, so I don't run it over with the mower.
There's a painted rock right here, you want to see? The gravel's going to go along this line right here, and then we're just going to follow to the next painted rock, right there, and then we're going to go to the next painted rock, right there.
And this is going to be the stopping point, and it's going to go over to the garage, all the way to the garage. So this is basically going to be like another drive parking spot. And the good news is we might be able to put the RV here, but until my son's van gets fixed, which I don't know, it might get fixed before the gravel guy gets here. If not, I'm gonna have to hook up the old plow tractor, put it in a low range, and I'll pull the van back into the turnaround, then up the driveway, and then we'll back it in to this spot so it's level. Now, the reason that I want to do all this is so that the van will be out of the way. It gives me a little bit extra length then to pull into the yard, and I can get the RV out of here. Now, we're not going anywhere right now, but I do need to get the RV out of here for one obvious reason. And if you guys don't know what that obvious reason is, it's the tires. I need to go get those tires changed. Now, I could, if I put the slides in, I could jack up the RV and support it with jack stands, and I could do the tires myself. But I'm thinking about maybe just taking it to a place and getting it done. Nonetheless, that's something that needs done. What else do we need to do? Well, I got to screw around and play around with this new thing that we got, which we'll do some sort of a talk on it when that time comes. We basically got a flow jet sewage pump to connect to the RV. And a lot of you guys suggested that when we had our old RV and our old truck. But in this case, I needed to go with something different than what we had in our old RV and old truck. And of course, your suggestions will work. So, if we get into a boondocking situation, we need the ability to leave the RV wherever we're at and go get fresh water and get rid of wastewater. With our old setup, we had that solution. I had a ramp in my 97 F250 that I used for small engine equipment. So what I did is got a smaller folding aluminum ramp, like a wheelchair ramp, and I was using that in conjunction with the winch that was mounted in the back of my old truck to lift a full water tank into the bed of the truck, a full Blue Boy. That's a 32-gallon Blue Boy, and we might even be getting into a 42-gallon Blue Boy. I don't know for sure yet. The reason I got the 32 was the old RV set too low for the 42. The 42 looks just like that, but it's taller. Well, the old RV, the outlet, the discharge was too low. This discharge is plenty high enough. So anyways, getting back, I was making to where the ramp that I had, the aluminum ramp, in conjunction with the winch that I had mounted on the back of the truck, would winch this blue tank up into the bed of the truck to where we could drive it to where it needs to go, wherever that may be. And I'm talking about if you get in a boondocking situation where there's, of course, no hookups, and the dump station is quite a ways away. I'm talking about like 2 miles. I'm not going to tow that tank behind my truck for 2 miles. I won't even tow it for 1 mile. So this would allow me to, the ramp situation would allow me to put the tank in the back of the truck. And then once we got to the location, I would just hook up the stinky slinky, traditional plain old stinky slinky to this and just pull the valve. This is the dump valve right here. I could pull this dump valve and it would empty the tank without even taking it out of the bed of the truck. That was the solution. Problem was, or the problem is, we got rid of that truck. And these new trucks are much taller. So now the ramp that I bought wouldn't work because it was too steep of an angle. I could have got a bigger ramp, but I just decided not to go that route. Now, I know that people say, listen, why don't you get a cargo carrier that you carry with you? And once you get to your location, you can undo your hitch, take your hitch out of the back of your truck, put the cargo carrier in the hitch, and you could put that Blue Boy on the cargo carrier and then go and dump it. You could load it up. It could be heavy, full of water. It's kind of hard to get up onto the cargo carrier. And if I'm going to use a flow jet to fill it up, the sewage pump, then I might as well just put it in the bed of the truck and pump it out that way. The other thing is I don't have to, again, tip this tank to empty it. So I could hook the flow jet up to this when we get to the dump station and run the flow jet to empty it also, empty the Blue Boy. Or I could use a big stinky slinky out of the RV or off the RV, and I could just let it gravity out. Either or. The reason that I don't want to use a cargo carrier is because of this big monster in the back here. This thing is heavy. This is a heavy hitch. Not only that, but I have it, the anti-rattle thing mounted and cinched down also to keep it from rattling. So that means I'd have to back that off. Then I'd have to undo my locking pin. And then I'd have to pick up this whole monstrosity, which is like 100 pounds, and put it somewhere out of the way. I don't want to do that. If I could find a way to use the stinger on that's sticking out, that square tube, with the cargo carrier, which might be something in the future, I might do that. But still, I have to carry then a cargo carrier. I mean, it's nice that the tank's not sitting up in the bed of the truck, but I think that if I just put down, a piece of cardboard or some towels or a carpet or something in there just to catch whatever may drip, I think that'll be okay. So that's what we plan on doing with the flow jet pump. But I got to screw around with it. I got to test it. I got to do all kinds of stuff, and then we'll talk about it much more than this. Now you guys know that same boondocking situation. Like I said, if we don't have full hookups, how are we going to get any water? Well, a lot of you that joined on with us probably didn't see our old truck. We had a water tank in the back. It was a gravity fill, which I like the gravity fill idea, just in case we have to do jugs or something like that. But it's more than that. It's got a pump that's back there, and it's a 42-gallon tank that will allow me to fill it with fresh water and come back to the RV that's still setting in the same spot, and I can refill the freshwater tank with what's out of the back of the truck. So it's kind of nice. If we go boondocking, literally I could fill up the freshwater tank in the bed of my truck. I could fill up the freshwater tank in the RV, and we could go to our location and have 100 gallons of fresh water ready to go, 102 to be exact. And then all I got to worry about is the gray tank and the black tank to empty it. I'm assuming that I'd probably be emptying the gray tank a lot more than the black tank. The black tank, like I said, we know that we can go roughly 10 days on a black tank, just being normal people. So I don't know if after 10 days, if we need to, at that point, we might want to leave anyways, but I just, one of those things. Okay, so that's what I got to do there. Let's talk about what else I got to do. The solar panels. Yes, those solar panels back there. At least one. I need to mount a solar panel on my son's van, and I got to do a review of it. The MPPT controller, mounting it, and basically, showing all the functions. Today's the first nice day, but I've got all this other stuff I got to do before the rain comes. So I don't think I'm going to get to it. I would like to, but I don't think that I can. The nice thing is that the campers all opened up. We should not have to worry about freezing temperatures ever again until fall sometime, late fall. And hopefully we're not in this situation. We're not in this area by then, but I don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen. The good news is, as far as moving forward, Heidi and I is really excited, that she's got her surgery coming up relatively quick. She's going to have a relatively long recovery time that she's going to be using. Then we might be using some vacation. That should bring us up into the time that we're going to be doing our Pirate Land get-together from July 10th through the 17th. That's still on. Just to let you guys know, we still have that going on. We haven't heard that it's going to be canceled. We haven't even decided what it's going to be like. But again, anybody that's thinking about going to this thing, just shoot us a mail, shoot us an email, shoot us a text, something to get us an idea of how many people might be there. That'll give us an idea of how much we need to step up our game as far as what goes on there. What we would love to do is just show up and hang out with everybody. But, a lot of people have gone out of their way to come to this event, or it's not even an event, this get-together. And we want to make sure that, it's entertaining on some level, or you guys don't get really, because we're just normal people. And I think a lot of times that's what happens. You'll meet somebody and you're like, they're just normal. I can't believe I drove all the way down here for these normal people. So anyways, just shoot us a mail, let us know. But a beautiful day. I mean, can you find a cloud? Not one cloud, not a single cloud, nothing anywhere. We haven't seen that in a while. Wow. Lots to do. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Hope to see you out there though. Bye.